Well, welcome back to a episode of the Drive Marketing. And this evening, I have the pleasure to sit and visit with Trent Ray, owner and operator of TR Cattle Company in Glencoe, Oklahoma. Trent, how you doing?
I'm doing well. Yourself?
Oh man, it's doing good. We got rain in Oklahoma, so it's always
Yeah,
a time to smile.
it is that for sure. I'm not complaining about the mud right now.
No, that's right. You bet. Hey, it's that time of year. It's sale season, and always the anticipation. The TR Cattle Company sale is upon us. Tell us just a little bit before we get into the cattle, some background about TR Cattle Company and what it is that you guys do in terms of daily operations and what you work towards.
Yeah, we're running. We've downsized significantly from about 1,800, 2,000 head to about 150 over the last 6 years. We thought that it was important to downsize to focus on the best genetics possible that we could have at the time, and try to insinuate upon them genetics and be progressive in how we do things.
Hmm.
But also, we wanted cattle that I think for us and for our current customer base and incoming customer base, that we're going to work not only as it's fun to win a banner, it is, but we
Yeah.
need stuff that's going to go be cows, that's going to go be donors that have functionality and durability and longevity. And with that, we started looking at certain pedigrees, builds on cattle, how we like them, and maybe how some of our customer base is starting to see it is, hey, we might not win this show, but we're going to have that donor that can have that one that can win that show, or can have these that can do this and these that can do that. And Leslie and I have really honed in on that stuff, keeping feet and legs right and keeping functionality right on our cattle.
Yeah, that's good. There's no doubt you're a product of this business. Of course, I've known you most all of your life, I guess. But you guys, you stepped it up when you became, I guess, from your junior career to now it's your profession, and you are a student of the game. And it's nice to watch that, and go. But it's multiple breeds for you, and it's not. You just hit on that. We may not win the show, but hopefully we're going to have that right donor cow. Talk about that next level, for your customers and what you do for them.
Yeah, so for our customers, it's about meeting goals and needs and what they want, not necessarily, again, not to go win that banner, because we might have people that, hey, we want one that we can raise our own stuff with, or we want stuff that can be progressive in our own program, or maybe their goals are as simple as, hey, we want to go win showmanship at our state fair, or we want to feed this one better, or maybe presentation. And Leslie and I, we pride ourselves in presenting the best cattle possible, but doing it in a way that it's a team atmosphere. And we want these new families and these young families that have come to us in the last couple of years to be a part of that. And we want them to feel like family. And for us, that's been I mean, without the customers, I don't know that there's a whole lot of us in this industry that can keep doing what we do, to love what we do, and to produce for those people how we do.
Yeah, yeah. There's no doubt. But something else. You did. It wasn't a fly by the seat of the pants deal for you either. You studied this business, and you studied something that's really close to me, and that's cow families. And we're going to get into that, and we're going to get into some of these pedigrees. That was my only fear of sitting and visiting with you for 30 minutes is a pedigree is more than just three generations for some of us. And I know it's going to be tough, but talk to me real quick about the importance of cow families.
It's like we said, they might not always win the show, but they're the ones that are going to be the ones producing the stuff that you want to win the show with, or have that next herd bull, or that next donor female, or just, I mean, something for long-term use that you can utilize in several different breeds. You hit on it earlier. We're not just one breed around here, and we like to have multiple, I guess, dual-purpose cows, females, donors, to go on and to produce those next generation females, and being progressive within that.
Right. And I tell you what, we're going to get tonight's episode fired up here real quick because we're going to start off with a couple of Angus donors that we're going to get to talk about, E306 and E78, a first class female and a style female. Tell me about these two and their imprint in the cell.
So both of these females, ironically, this is their first flush that we've done. on both of them. And one has a natural calf in the sale, the first class, and she's got an ET, and then E78 has 3 ETs in the sale. But man, have they both made their mark quick for us. The first class donor, E306, goes back to the great 405, who now resides at Nelson Family Farms up in Minnesota. And she's been one of the most dominant cows the last 5 years in the industry. And these daughters, one, the natural is out of the great Sandman sire, and lot 5 is out of the great Forbes sire that would have won Congress there. I believe it was the first year, if I'm not mistaken.
You bet.
And then, you know, them 2 things, they speak for themselves. So we invite everybody to come look at them, but more importantly, study the videos and really break them things down. I feel like you'd see a lot of good in those 2 females. And then we work into E78. That is a cow that initially we wanted to take out a lot more in I believe it was 2016, I want to say. Actually, fast forward to be 2019. It would have been the year that Nowoski would have won Denver and Fort Worth. And we actually raised that female as well. And we saw this female, maybe we'll try to take her out to OYE. So we took her out to OYE. She won her division, and she had a lot of fans. Never showed her again. And we put her right into production, and she got right to work. So if you're breaking down that pedigree, obviously the great style and what he's done in the Angus industry, but her mother, 2114, would be a direct daughter of 615, and then in return would make her a sister to 419. Obviously, the female that's been tearing a path down the Angus industry the last, again, 3 to 5 years for Meadow Lake and family. This female is impeccable. Her skeletal build and her quality are second to none. And Leslie and I mean, we'd like to have 100 of them built like this. And this female with the cross to Klassen, they're all 3 different in their own right, but they insinuate the epitome of a great cow, all 3 of them. They're sound, they're square, and they have plenty of muscularity and width and dimension to their skeleton.
Yeah, you know, you talked about all that. You talked about the pedigree, but you know, one thing, Trent, you failed to talk about, these things are pretty easy on the eyes, man.
I'm trying not to get too far in depth in this. We're on a time limit, okay. But man, I can talk about those things all day. All 5 of them. They're awesome.
Yeah, they're incredible. And we're talking about 2 females here that are the dams to the first 6 lots in the sale, 5 or 6 lots of your sale. But more importantly, not only are you offering some live genetics here, but you're also offering embryos on these 2 as well.
Yeah, we are offering full sibs to the lot 5 female, which would be at an E306, the first class donor. And then we're offering full sibs to lots 3, 4, and 6, which would be Klassens out of the E78 donor.
Wow. Yeah, that's a heck of a good way to start off a sale right there. And we transition to another breed that's really close to your heart, and that's these Herefords. And you've got 2 females here, that 4064B and 123B, 2 donors. We talked about easy on the eyes. These things right here were easy on the backdrop too. So
they had a lot of fun. And 4064 is just, I mean, she's 7 or 8, and this cow is starting to transition into her own. I mean, every year we find something. I just keep coming back to, and Leslie talked about it a lot, her and I do, is genetic consistency. And if they can lay down and have a calf naturally, just as good as they can as their ETs, that's what we want. And this cow flat does it. Both of these cows flat do it. And we've got 2 daughters out of 4064 in the sale. One is actually out of American Classic, our very own herd sire, and the other one is out of Augustus. He would be a full sib to a donor we're going to talk about here in a little bit, but he was a catapult out of the Great Mirror Image. And both of those females scream cow power, and one's forward, one's pulled. Functionality and just feet and legs are phenomenal on both those females, and we expect nothing less of 2 individuals out of that cow. Going more into that cow family, if we want to talk about it, I guess the most recent winnings that we've had out of that female would be the Worrell family down in Texas that went on an absolute tear this last year, with actually an Adventist daughter out of this female. And then she went on to win her division there at Gender Nationals as well for them.
Okay.
And actually, if we go over here to the right of the screen, that is a daughter of 123B. We never did get a picture of her. That would be View Graves, and the catapult daughter that she was reserve polled heifer with in the junior show at the National Western Stock Show. And that female has been, I mean, just absolute lights out. She's the mother of the ever popular Revival, the Horn Bull. We've taken to Cattlemen's Congress last year and Fort Worth. And then as well as the mother of the two high roller heifers that are selling in the sale, will be lots 12 and 15. And then you get into, I don't know if you saw it, but there was a lot of people that really liked the Vivian Lou Thompson heifer there from Express Ranches there at Junior Nationals. She would have been reserve in the Fallborn division. And she was also out of this female 123B would have been a grand dam of that female as well. So we've got potency and genetic longevity in those two females, but also their offspring is doing it for other places as well. And I think for us that speaks to us and then the way that we want to do things is we want these females to be progressive and we want them to go into other operations and do their jobs for their prospective owners.
Right. Yeah. You know, and there's no doubt you talked about going on and doing a job. There was that year of 19 is that picture, but there was probably not a heifer that was any more popular that year than Bo Ann's heifer was. And so, and the 4064 cow here, I mean, you're right. Those things do speak for themselves. And then there again, we're talking about, not only are we talking about genetic or live lots, you're going to offer genetic packages as well.
Yeah, and I didn't touch on that, but if you scroll down in the sale, both of these females, we're offering an American Classic package on 4064, and then obviously full sibs on 123B to lots 12 and 15 that would be sired by High Roller. And I guess we've kind of left him out of the discussion this far, but he would be as ever popular as any Hereford bull on the market as well today and right now.
Yeah, there's no doubt the imprint he made at the junior national level this year. I mean, though there was probably 4 or 5 bulls that made a stomp in the mud there, and he is definitely one of them. So, but you know, we transition again. We go to another donor cow here, and the maternal side of this pedigree. I tell you what, it's a soft spot in my heart for a good mirror image. Tell me just a little bit about 1816.
1816, I went down to Texas and I immediately actually went to look at Augustus and El Captain, and I looked back in the corner of the barn and she was standing there, and there's a long story behind that. And but short end of it is I fell in love with that one right away. And all the way through her career, she was shown by Logan Boyd very successfully, won her division at Junior Nationals there when it was in Colorado. And that female as well is another one that, you know, her first natural calf has an evaluation of 50,000 on her head, and she's actually a full sib to the ET that we're offering in the sale as lot 14, I believe. And then we would again turn around and offer a genetic package that's a full sib as lot 21. And that mating it's just a home run. That cow, she needs another picture. She's phenomenal as a mature individual, and what she can do, not only like we talked about longevity and being as consistent as they are, that one gets better with age. She laid down and had a beautiful natural this past year, and she did it again with her first ET calf.
Right. Gotcha.
And then we go over to the right side of the page again, and that is the ever popular 2-law donor. And we've talked about a lot of just genetic and consistent packages here in the industry and how these cows are setting in their own ways in terms of making a legendary path. This cow, just as much as any for Kyle Lemon and the Lehman family's done every bit of that. And I would go as far as to say her full sib would be the Mags donor of Melissa Grimmel and the Allen family that did just as much winning. If I'm not mistaken, daughters or maternal sibs would be to these females, or daughters out of these females have averaged over 30,000. And we've got 2 of our very own daughters in this sale of 2-law, sired by American Classic, would be lot 8 and lot 9. Okay. And lot 8 is horned. She was a little behind and struggling from the dehorn on picture day. That thing has done leaps and bounds since picture day. And lot 9 is just, you talk about just a raw cow that has all the power and dimension and structural integrity in the world that you could ever want.
Right. Yeah, and there again, you talked about that cow. You read her pedigree, just fires right out of the gate, being a 2296. And so, we're current stuff too. Not only we got something that good, but we're current pedigrees too, which is cool. So, hey, tell me something. I was visiting with you before we started here, reading through some pedigrees, and the lot two, an express out of a maternal sister to the one and only 414.
Yeah, and she's an express primo titleist, and that titleist daughter is out of a maternal sister to 414. And man, that again, genetic consistency and longevity is there. We struggled with this one on picture day. She wasn't wanting to cooperate, and you come and see this one in person, and a lot of people have picked this one out. She's deep, she's sound, she's burly, and she's yak haired. I mean, as big haired and soft sided as you can want one, and she's about as docile as you can make one to have that kind of look and build still to be a good show effort, but yet still have a donor, and she's gentle enough for a first time showman as well.
Right. Yeah. There you go. That's good. And then we transition to a horned heifer out of the popular marksman bull, the lot 7.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of a story. When I went out to Kyle Lemons after Junior Nationals this year, we actually had the pick of the two lot daughters, and we couldn't decide. Again, going back to those, couldn't decide which one we wanted. But when I walked in the barn, man, this one hit me. She's dark red and she's burly, and that thing's got all the power and dimension, and still with the density from her skull all the way back to her pin set as you could ever want one. But we circled back around the barn, and there's this just phenomenal cow out there, and I'm like, Kyle, what are you doing? What's this cow? Well, come to find out, this was this heifer's mother. And I'm like, all right, we got to take this thing home. I tried loading up the cow that day, but Kyle wouldn't let me. And so actually this one's mother is a double your miles, maker, eye candy. So what better pedigree along with the ever popular? Yeah, what other pedigrees could you want in terms of cow families? And then you double that back with marksman. Right. I mean, it's lights out for us. That female is a big time January horn in our opinion. She's got all the bells and whistles to still be a show effort, but to even be a big time donor after that.
Yeah, exactly. Holy smokes, that's unreal. And the lot 11, we're going to close these highlights out of this sale. We just talked about some popular pedigrees, but here is a high roller female that is out of a womanizer.
Yes, and this one's mother would have shown the same year that Logan showed 1816 there, and I want to say going back 2019 roughly. I'm that horrible with dates, so excuse me there, but that mother's female was shown and was very popular all year. That one's ended up being reserve division at Junior Nationals, and then Allie Schrammel would have showed her, and then we went on to Louisville. She stuck out there, had a lot of fans. And then we bring her home, put her in the pasture. She lays down and has a bull calf, and then her second calf just so happens to be this one. This is another natural calf. And you talk about just build and skeletal quality, and then all the stoutness and fresh hair coat that you could ever want on a pulled female. This one, you go out there, you find her immediately, and she's a female that just embodies show heifer. And she's one you can throw a halter on, and a 3-year-old kid could lead this one around and not have one issue. She's a sweetheart, she's docile, and she's built for the long haul, for sure.
Yeah, well, there's no doubt. From front to back, just on this highlight of this upcoming sale at SmartAuctions, I mean, there's lots of quality. You guys have put a lot of time and effort into this, you can tell. We laughed about it from the get-go. I knew talking about just a smidgen of a pedigree would be tough on both our parts, but I got to commend you. You did a great job, and it matches the sale, the quality of the sale as well. And TR Cattle Company, it's a smart auction. It's on 10/28/22, and so make it to Glencoe. He's uncomfortable with today's world of marketing cattle online. I'd say a guy could hit up your Snapchat and get a pretty good assessment of what these things are out walking around. I like that in today's time,
Yeah.
I mean, I love getting to see people Snapchat. So
Yeah, and for me, it's current and it's right there. It's immediate. It's dang near live. And the cattle are honest. I mean, you can't hide anything in a Snapchat video. It's all there.
yeah.
And I guess one other thing we probably didn't touch on is over the 40 lots, 19 of those are sought after popular herd sire semen lots. We do encourage people to go down through those. But we encourage everybody, again, come out, see the cattle. We're here. We'd love to show you the cattle. We'll be around. And one more thing we want to touch on is we know that the Texas validation is coming up. We will be heading that way early Saturday morning, can deliver probably early Sunday morning with whatever heifer, and we can get papers and registration, all that stuff done in a timely manner. The only heifer I will touch on that with is lot 5. She will not be registered in time for validation. We're still waiting on DNA to come back on the donor. Everything else will be ready to go.
Good deal. Right in time for Texas validation. You can't beat a deal like this. You're going to head south with them. So don't let trucking hold you up. Smart Auctions is the place to be. Get a hold of Trent. Get a hold of Dustin Layton. But Trent, I got to tell you, it's a pleasure sitting and visiting with you tonight. Good luck in your sale.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys' time.